I would like to introduce some folks. My name, first of all, is Paul Wanish. I'm the lead instructor here for Lake Mary Advanced Manufacturing and Innovation Center. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Reynolds, of course, who's going to be our first speaker this morning. Mayor David Mailer.
Good morning.
Sir?
Good morning.
Good morning. City Manager Jackie Sova, I understand, is not yet here, but she's supposedly on her way. With the weather, she might be a few minutes late. Assistant City Manager Tom Tomerlin. Thanks, Tom. Good to see you again. And Fire Chief Frank Fournier. And so after we have a couple of small introductions as well from Dr. Reynolds and whoever else is speaking, if anyone from the fire department. Then I'd like to go over the overview of how this came about, which is kind of a fun story and interesting. And then we'll take a short tour of the facility. We're kind of in it, so we're about halfway down through the facility, and then we'll do some presentations by the Lake Mary Fire Department and also by the school. And then we'll have some concluding remarks and photo opportunities. I want the students to go through the explanation of how all of this came about, which we will do during the tour part of it, which shouldn't be much longer. Yeah?
Yes.
Dr. Reynolds, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for bringing us all together for this reason, too. I love this kind of event because what it does is highlights the tremendous partnerships between our public schools, our public school students, and our community. And I've been around a while. In fact, most of you know that my father was the first principal at Lake Mary High School. And one thing he always focused on was community. How can the school support what the community needs, and how can the community support our efforts? Mayor Wheeler knows this. If you ever want to hear great stories from him about when he was first new to this area, jogging by Lake Mary High School when it was just a concrete slab, and he met my dad, Don T. Reynolds, and they immediately forged a friendship and started talking about such things. One of the reasons we're so successful, though, is because our teachers, like Mr. Wanish and Mr. Klishevich, they find ways to take these kind of programs and turn them into a resource for the community. And that's what's happened here. Really cool. It happened kind of in a crazy way, which you'll hear all about. But the importance is that we are a community school and that we support each other, and that you as the students have the benefit of the partnership. That's what's really important, because our ultimate goal in Seminole County is to educate our students in such a way that they want to live and work in Seminole County. And I think we have a special guest who just walked in who would probably agree with me. I'd like to introduce Dr. Walt Griffin.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah. So I'm going to actually step aside for a minute since Dr. Griffin is here. Would you like to say a couple words?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No? I just want to say how proud I am of y'all. That's the big thing for me, and our teachers for creating a program that teaches students these skills and allows for these kind of partnerships. I think it's wonderful. And thank you to our fire department for partnering with us, because it's these real world experiences that make learning truly meaningful, right, Dr. Griffin?
Yeah, and I want to give thanks to Dr. Reynolds also, because it takes a leader to allow this type of collaboration to happen. Students, I was here when you were making these, and I'm very excited to see that when we finish the project. And thank you for working with our students. And these guys, a few of you were here when I came by during the manufacturing. And certainly thank you officials for being here. Has everybody been introduced?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. All right, thank you.
So this is I'll make a brief overview of how all of this came about, because it was really kind of interesting. As you know, we're in a high school environment and things happen. And one of our students decided that it was a great idea to light up a trash can on the second floor. And so one of our IT persons got there split seconds before I did, and I picked up the can, and we got the sink, and we got the water going in it and put the fire out. But of course, by that point in time, there was smoke everywhere. I mean, it was coming down the hall, going everywhere. So fire department was called. They came in, and assessed the situation, saw that the fire was out, and they began bringing in these huge fans to evacuate the smoke that had filled the hallways and the rooms. We had already evacuated the whole this whole floor, first and bottom, first floor and second floor as well, when all this was taking place. So the smoke was really interesting, and I noticed that they were putting these as doorstops, interestingly, and using them to open the door. This is actually I believe this is actually the first one you left with me when we finally started talking about this. And I'm walking with Sean, and I said, seems to be an awfully expensive way to keep a door open. I said, obviously, to me, you must use it for something different. And he said, yes, actually, these are wedges. We use the Halligan to go into a door that's locked, knowing that there's people behind it or not. If we think the fire is there, then we have to open the door. And we will use these to put in and then hit with the Halligan and break open the door. So I said, well, where do you get those? He said, well, we have to buy them. I said, this is something simple. I mean, we can make these. This is not a big deal. I said, I'm curious, what do you pay for these? He said, what, about $22, I think you said, somewhere in there?
They're even higher now. So now that they're engraving them, yeah, they're a little bit higher.
So I said, well, why don't you let us have one as a sample and let us see if we can make these. So this ring of aluminum is what we started with. And I got this ring of aluminum. It's funny that I got this 6 years ago when I started with Central County Public Schools. And that we were building this program, and I knew we were going to need aluminum for cutting. And I don't even remember who gave this to me, but there were 2 ingots exactly. These are about 50 pounds each. And so I said, we found a way to cut the cheese, literally. Because that's what this looked like, right? I mean, big round, of cheese. Let's see if we can't cut some slices out of this thing. And so Chris Driscoll and Patrick Kelly and Taryn Kumarovell were involved in making these, and Chris and Patrick were the ones basically cutting the pieces, and Taryn was involved in physically milling and machining these right behind you, putting this together. So, and then Mr. K, we enlisted his assistance to put the engraving on here. One side says Lake Mary High School Advanced Manufacturing, and the other side is Lake Mary Fire Department. So, and one of the big holdups is this requires a special etching paint, and we thought we had plenty, and then we found out we didn't have plenty. So then we had to order that in, and it took a little time to get it, and that's what kind of delayed the process. So this little piece right here started out as, why do you use this to prop open a door? And my inquisitiveness in asking, what do we need to do to make this? And then getting these 3 gentlemen involved in 2 of our classes to literally enlist their help to pick this up and move it around and physically cut it on the saw. They're going to walk you through that process here as soon as we get done with me talking. Anybody have any questions about how we did this and what we did? Gentlemen, would you like to kind of take a couple of minutes each and talk about how and what you did on each machine? So why don't you 2 go first?
So
cut them.
basically, we started off with this round stock there, and we were trying to figure many ways to cut it out on the bandsaw. It took a while to figure it out, but we finally figured out that we just take the original one, draw it out, and then give some tolerance to go. So then we put it on there and cut it out, and we got the wedges. And then after that, we had to take it to the milling machine, and he did most of that.
We could screw it in the middle and then just face off the bottom and top side of the pieces. After that, we were able to use another tool to come back and face off the sides and over the two sides of the piece. After that, we used the 1-inch drill to just drill through the two holes, and then deeper, and then we have a finished part. So that's pretty much it.
So that's pretty much it. Wendy? Presentation.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
Good morning, I appreciate it, thank you. First, if I can ask the mayor to come up, and then Lieutenant Anastasia, if you can come up. I'm going to ask the mayor to say a few words, because he has real vested interest, not only in the community as the mayor of Lake Mary, but also as an educator, and this is a joint ventureship. So if you'd like to say a few words about both things and how they come together.
I sure will. Dr. Reynolds, first of all, thank you for the kind words. But Dr. Griffin really is the driving force behind this, because he went to the legislature, the school board, and Dr. Griffin identified a need. The legislature is the one that helped bring this to Lake Mary High School. And I remember at the dedication, I'll never forget it, we were told that students at Lake Mary High School have an opportunity to do things that others can't do. We see that today. So again, to the students, the faculty, congratulations. This is truly a job well done.
For those who don't know, Lieutenant Anastasia was actually on the call when it first came over for the fire that day. So he came to me afterwards and started talking to me about how he joined up with Mr. Paul here. And so I'm going to let you speak a little about that, just how that came together,
Sure.
and then why we're all here today.
Yeah, well, I think it's just interesting sometimes just a simple conversation can lead down to where we're at right now. So we were here for the event while we were ventilating the structure, and we're opening multiple doors. You know, obviously in a school campus, you've just got door after door after door. And so we wanted some open, clear it out of the smoky environment, close it, open another one, and so on and so forth. And so traditionally, I'd always carry wooden wedges until these guys came along, because they're very versatile. You can actually use them in forcible entry, like we have hooked onto the Halligans and our forcible entry tools over here. You can use them to capture progress and extrication as well. It's just a very, very versatile thing. At the time, I'm just simply using it to hold the door open. And of course, he's like, that's a pretty expensive, you know, door stop. But just that simple conversation led to, well, I can do this, or we can do this. And we kind of toured over here, and I saw all the impressive equipment. Now I am, you know, this is my alma mater. I graduated here in '93, so none of this was here. This, I think, was a much different space at the time. And I was extremely impressed by what he showed me, but then once I gave him my wedge and he just started to get to work and he started showing me these, I was like, it's pretty awesome. He's like, how many do you need? And I'm like, how many can you make? And he shows me this whole wheel of cheese here. So I'm like, I don't know how many that makes, but you know, we have X amount of personnel that are on the trucks. Would you be comfortable with that number? And so that is actually how we got to this number, and that's kind of the commitment that they made, which was, I thought, a very robust commitment. And so I'm just excited. I mean, this is fun stuff. This is stuff we enjoy, and it turned out just, I mean, I mean, that's awesome. Look at that. You know, I'm just blown away. So very grateful, very humbled. It's always good to have these kind of conversations and then get to let them play out into stuff like this. So, and allow the guys and the kids here to really kind of extend their experiences into stuff like this. So.
Chief, can I put on my university hat for just a moment? Because I had the privilege of doing that with the University of Central Florida. And I have a message for the students here. You heard where Lieutenant Anastasia was a student here at Lake Mary High School. He is in a major leadership role right now, as every member of his team. But Wendy Marshall right here is the state of Florida's Fire Marshal of the Year. And what that speaks to, that speaks to the drive to be better than what we are today. And I stand where I am today because people at my high school, my college, and my community saw things in me that I couldn't see in myself. And that's exactly what you're being exposed to. I think you're being given an amazing opportunity. If nothing else, I'm going to speak now as the mayor of the city of Lake Mary and as a taxpayer. Look at how much money you saved the citizens of Lake Mary. That's a big deal. So thank you again. Love what's happening here. And Dr. Reynolds, it's always a joy to come into your facility.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to add one more thing. We got when I was talking to the students, it's two of them, it's their senior year. Spoke to one of them, he's going to be going to UCF Engineering School. So you'll probably see his face. And the other one's going to be in chemistry.
Second largest university in all America with the #1 engineering school in the Southeast. Congratulations.
So I truly appreciate the students and the instructors in this whole project. It was a wonderful venture. I praise my firefighters. I'm very proud of them that they're interacting with the public, not just during emergencies, but on off time. That they show that there's more to the community about just emergencies for the fire department. We interact with the community always. So I appreciate what the lieutenant did and took the effort to come put this together with the instructors from the school. So with that, I have a couple of presentations here for the students and the instructors. And the first one, it's a community service award. And this honor is presented to the Lake Mary High School Advanced Manufacturing and Innovation Center for their contribution to public safety by creating, and we made a name up for it, the Rescue Wedge. It's a wedge, we didn't know what to call it, but we said the Rescue Wedge. This device will be used by our firefighters during rescue operations, thus helping save the lives of our citizens for years to come, given this date, March 5th, 2019. So this is for your class, and then I have for each individual one also.
Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so if I could get both instructors up here.
Mr. K?
Yeah, Mr. K was one assisted, and Mr. Paul here. So this one, again, it's a Community Service Award. This honor is presented to, I'm going to say Mr. K, instructor, for his leadership role during the creation of the Lake Mary High School Rescue Wedge. This device will be used by our firefighters during rescue operations, thus helping save the lives of our citizens for years to come. And it says the same for Mr. Paul here also. I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now, if I can get the students up here. And if I can get the firefighters in the back, please come to the back side. And I'm going to read this out, but I have something else afterwards that's really special to us that we wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to read one, but it's for the same for the group, okay? Again, Community Service Award. This honor is presented to Christopher Driscoll for his role in the creation of the Lake Mary High School Rescue Wedge. This device will be used by our firefighters during rescue operations, thus helping save the lives of our citizens for years to come. So, Christopher, I'm sorry, apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christopher's got another year with us at Lake Mary High School before he can graduate. But he learned early, so appreciate everything he's done. And Patrick Kelly, thank you so much, appreciate it. And then T, I'm going to call you T. Yes. Thank you very much. And if we could get a picture. And we got one more special thing. We don't normally do this, but we have a presentation. I'm going to let my Deputy Chief, Joe Landeville, explain our challenge coin, and then he's going to present you one each, okay?
Challenge coins, a little bit of history on them. Been used by the military, early pilots, squadrons, light groups, and that's how they could recognize each other. One method of identification would be a unique coin struck for their squadrons. This tradition, this family type of tradition, started during times of war, during times of public service. Since those early beginnings, and even earlier if you look at Greek and other history, since we are in school, I probably should mention that. But actually the true coins that we use right now, law enforcement, military, still to this day, fire departments, public safety, we have, we go to task for our communities. We sometimes have to go to task in situations that are not great, but we intervene. That's our job, and we recognize each other, whatever the discipline by these coins. You have just joined that family. You have gone into public safety. And so we will always count you as part of our family. And you will be recognized when you see it by your coin from the Lake Mary Fire Department. So I have one for each of you.
Again, thank you so much from the Lake Mary Fire Department to Lake Mary High School. Everything you've done, we really appreciate it. And I believe these things are going to last forever, way longer than we're going to be around, probably. Thank you so much. So I'll leave it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody got pictures? We're good? Again, would like to thank Lake Mary Fire Department for being a partner with us. And as Sean said, you know, from a casual conversation, two and a half months ago, the opportunity for the community to be the beneficiary of that conversation and the lives that will be saved by every person involved with Lake Mary Fire Department having one of these is pretty important and one that is really appreciated by Lake Mary Fire Department and the community as well, and we're glad to be a part of it. If anyone has any questions, we'll be glad to have it. This concludes our presentation. We thank you for being here. Be safe going home. Don't forget your seatbelt.
Thank you.